welcome back to another episode with Mystic
Mystic
Scales and
Scales
Fairy
and
Tales
Fate Tales
podcast.
podcast.
I'm your host, Jennifer,
And I'm Leigh.
and we are a fantasy, romance, and dystopian podcast. And welcome back to another full length episode. Dun dun
Yes,
dun! That's an intro for you.
lovely. Intro 101. What are we talking about today?
We're really excited because we are following up with our book club. So if you are not on our book club, you should join our book club on the app Fable.
Mm,
It's the same name as our podcast. It's Fate, Mystic Scales, and Fate Tales podcast. Book club. You can also find us by just looking up Fate Tales, and you'll see that we are deep within the Grisha verse.
we
And
are.
last month, so we read a book every month and we review the book on here on the podcast. And last month we read Six of Crows. So today we are reviewing, it's a month later, and we are reviewing Crooked Kingdom, the second book in the Six of Crows duology. This is really exciting because we love this book, and everyone,
Hmm.
it was a lot of people's first time except for Leigh, so it's nice that she got to revisit. And
Yeah.
from here, we will go on to the rest of the Grishaverse. We're going to do Shadow and Bone, and then we'll do King of Scars. So we are deep, and we're invested, and we're excited.
Hmm. Yeah, this has been a good one, especially for the fan art. I think partially because it came out like 10 years ago. So there's been
Yes.
plenty of time for fan art, but there's also just amazing characters and they have quite a journey. And you found some really great stuff that you posted in our book club. So definitely go check that out. It's funny
Yeah,
that it's
every
only,
chapter has fan art,
yeah,
and that was so much fun for me to do. I did get spoiled because of the fan
yeah.
art just once.
But it was
I
a big
actually,
one.
it was a big spoiler, and I thought I was gonna get something else happened, but it didn't happen. So I'm glad. I think I just interpreted the art wrong, so that was exciting. Because obviously I didn't know what was gonna happen because I didn't finish it when I looked at the art. So yeah, I only got a few things spoiled, but yeah, it was really nice for this book. I feel like for some other books, I have to like repeat art in certain chapters, especially when it's a series. But
Mm,
this one, I feel like I didn't. If I did, it was by accident. It was not me like consciously doing it. But there was so much art for everyone, and then obviously. With the TV show, there's a Shadow and Bone TV show, and they started integrating Six of Crows in before it got canceled, and they cast all the characters. So a lot of the fan art was also some of it was based off of the book and some of it was like based off of the actors because I think looking at the photos of the actors, they look perfectly cast. I'm excited to watch the
okay.
show. So it was cool seeing people then make fan art based off of the show. So that was fun.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
I haven't wanted to look up the show. Like I know Ben Barnes is in it, but I truly don't know his character. Because I don't want to be spoiled like in my mind's eye of like the characters. And even having like read this already, I didn't want anything like changing. I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go back. But I am excited to watch the show and to see who they've cast and everything like that. So I will be
I'm just
avoiding
excited because
those.
I saw so many. I don't want to say spoilers, but like stills from the show, and it was scenes from the first book. Now I didn't think I saw anything from the second book, obviously because they're intertwining. So I'm like, oh, I wonder how much of the first book they really get into it.
Hmm.
And that's just so interesting because like from what I've heard, obviously we haven't read Shadow and Bone yet, but when I've asked people like it's okay that we're reading this way, they're like, yeah, they're like they're honestly like they live so separately. Like yes, they're in the same universe, but they like my coworker was saying that like they'll mention things in the Six of Crows duology that yeah you'll know from Shadow and Bone, but it's not like you have to know read one to
Hmm.
know the other. So I think that's so like interesting that with the TV show they were like, well, let's mix it together. It's all the same universe. It's like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
like you don't think about that. So I'm
Yeah.
excited that we'll go back when when we start to read Shadow and Bone. We'll be like, oh, that was mentioned. We would have known that if
Hmm.
we started with it.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, there's a like a Q&A at the end of both books actually, but at the end of Crooked Kingdom, the author talks about how she didn't necessarily like plan to come back to this world, and she same thing with like King of Scars, but like she said just it just kind of like came to her and like these characters came back and these ideas came, and so she had a new story. So I just kind of love that, and I feel like the TV show was able to kind of bring that all together, which is cool.
I love that because then it's not forced. It's not like you're getting pressured by your fans or the publishers to be like, keep going, keep growing. It's like you find it naturally. And I mean, we haven't read Shadow and Bone yet, but I would argue like this felt very natural. It didn't feel like a push to make something to have for the sake of making it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
like Lee said, this came out in 2016. So it's about 10 years old, which makes sense because they recently released new covers with really pretty art, and that's how it looks on the audiobook that I have actually. So the book that I have is the old cover, but the new covers have Kaz and Inej as the
Mm-hmm.
characters, and only
Mm-hmm.
them. And I was like, that's so interesting. I was like, because you
Yeah.
could easily do the whole crew, but they just chose Kaz and Inej, and I said, okay, I'm here for it. Yes.
And I also
So that's
think
exciting.
like the artwork looks older. Because I think I saw it recently and I was like, oh, is this like the original? But it's not.
No, but we all know. I don't know if we've mentioned it on here. The controversy is that the publisher has started to take out the ages of the
Mm.
characters in the recent publishing or reprints of it because of the adult crossover, which we have many opinions about. I think it's terrible.
It just feels unnecessary. Like, I just feel like you're giving someone extra work for no reason. And yeah, I mean, she doesn't mention their ages distinctly in Crooked Kingdom. She talks about the time that's passed, especially for
Hmm.
Kaz, of like his trauma. But she doesn't really mention it in the second book. So I just feel like it's not that big a deal. And we've also, we've talked about how having them be younger matters.
The importance of
And
YA.
yeah, so we don't really like that. But
No, I think it's just I think it's not necessary on top of that because you're already getting the adult crossover. All these adults are already reading it. So I don't understand why you need to push it more to see if you can get more sales out of it. Like it just is a weird idea to strip a book that's 10 years old on top of that to then be like, well, if we take their ages out, adults are going to be more excited about it. It's like, no, they still know they're
no,
young. They can figure it out by the way they speak about it. Like they're
right.
and that's the point, and that's what we're going to get into with this book is that they have a lot of failures and they're not perfect, especially this book.
Yeah,
So yeah, they should be the ages that the way the author intended. So
yeah,
I think it's gross.
yeah. I also think like pitching this to adults doesn't work anymore because there's too much like spice and smut in adult fantasy that
Hmm.
having this without it is like people will get mad. So I was like, why
Yeah,
would you even try? Like just praise it for what it is, and that's YA, like a very well done YA.
very well
So
done, YA. And the yearning in this is amazing anyway. So like,
it
who
is.
cares about not every book needs
Mm,
spice.
mm-mm. Nope. This one is like it's so good with like you, because there are times where you'll be like, man, I really wish, and then you're like, but actually, I don't need it. Like this works so well, and I'm
She
okay.
leaves a lot
And
up to your imagination, and I'm happy about that
mm,
because you could just,
mhm.
like, yes, I'm like, oh, I would love more time with blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, but I could also, like, imagine it in my head. Like, there's so many
Yeah,
possibilities.
yeah. It's interesting because like you get a lot of screen time with each character, right? We get POV chapters, but then there's a lot of things that happen off page, like off screen. And I think that's okay or that it works in this because like you're saying, like you can fill it in and you can be like satisfied with that. Like for example, like Nina and Mateus, like they're you know that their relationship is growing and that it's like solid, even if you don't see every single moment of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Well, let's get into this. So here on out, spoilers ahead. If you haven't read Crooked Kingdom or Six of
Come on
Crows,
back. Yeah.
come on back. But very, very exciting. So, Kaz Brecker and his crew have just pulled off a heist so daring even they didn't think they'd survive. But instead of divvying up a fat reward, they're right back to fighting for their lives. Double crossed and badly weakened, the crew is low on resources, allies, and hope. As powerful forces from around the world descend on Ketterdam to root out the secrets of the dangerous drug known as Durapardem, old rivals and new enemies emerge to challenge Kaz's cunning and test the team's fragile loyalties. Then there's a quote part. Jesper tapped his fingers relentlessly. Has anyone noticed this whole city is looking for us, mad at us, or wants to kill us? So, said Kaz. Well, usually it's just half the city. A war will be waged on the city's dark and twisting streets, a battle for revenge and redemption that will decide the fate of the Grisha world. Dun dun dun! How exciting! Oh, I'm so excited. So I want to put out before we get into this, I showed my paperback, I believe, last episode of Six of Crows, and it's in the box set, so it's very similar. Sadly, the Netflix sticker is printed on, so I unfortunately cannot take it off. But it's beautiful paperback with foil design that you could see. My cover glistens in the light because it's like a gold area. So it's the crow is what is that called? Not stretching its wings, opening its wings. So you get to see them take off because they are in this book. And you open it, and the artwork inside for this one is "We never stop fighting," and it's also the crow with a knife and the cards.
That's cool.
So that is pretty awesome. I love how they kept that throughout, from the first book to the second. And because the first one has, I think it was the
cup.
No mourners, no funerals. Yeah. And then we get a map of like the world, essentially, the universe they're in. So they have Ravka, they have Ketterdam, the True Sea, Novia Zem, like all of those places that they mentioned throughout, which is funny because I thought I would be going back to the map when I was listening on audio, but I really didn't. I just she made it so believable that everything was so far from each other that I didn't feel like I didn't need to look at the map. But what I could have done was, I wish I looked at my book sooner, because I did the audio, was that there's an entire map of Ketterdam in the book.
Oh.
And I did not look at this. And I mean, I just believed, like, again, her storytelling was so well that I didn't need to. But there was so much fun things in here that I could have seen. Like, they map out where each club is. Like the Crow Club, Hellgate, the White Rose. They have different symbols on the map. And they have each district. They have where the embassies are. They have where the harbors is. So you could kind of see, like, because, they stay in Ketterdam this entire book, so you kind of see everywhere they go. And I really wish I paid attention to that, because I wasn't lost, but it just would have been fun to be like, oh, okay, they're here, and then now they go here, and then now they go here, especially with the ending, with the last, like, big heist. Like, we see them, like, all running around this ginormous thing, and it really gives you a look at how big this city is and how much they're doing in this time, and how much Inez knows her shit.
So crazy.
This is a lot. So yeah, that
and then
and
the back has a pronunciation guide, right?
Let me double check. Actually,
I think it's called a cast of characters.
Oh yeah, so the back does have that. I didn't even see that. See, Leigh, this is why I should open my books more. So yeah, there's a cast of characters, which is interesting. It's in the back. You would think it would be in the front.
That's what I thought. Yeah, because like I was reading it on Kindle, and I always have to like look ahead and see how much longer. And there was that, and I was like, why is this here? And then when I got to it, it was like how to pronounce these names, and I was like, but why are you telling me now?
That's so funny. Yeah, it has literally everyone. Jesper's father, the music teacher, everyone in alphabetical order, and how to pronounce them. But again, I had the audiobook, so I kind of just like listened to what they said.
you were good. How was the audiobook?
It was good. I mean, same cast of people that did the first one. They added an extra actor for Wyland, which I thought was read well. I still struggled with Jesper's chapters. Just knowing, like, he plays Jesper so well, but like I mentioned last episode, him reading for the other characters in his scene are kind of hard for me to know what's happening, or who said what, really. But he plays Jesper so well. So yeah, everyone did great. In terms of like the only new added was Wyland, because Pekka had a chapter last time too, which Okay, that's my first question to you. How did you like the bookend of each book having Pekka
Becca.
as the last chapter? Isn't that so interesting? Like, what a
Yeah,
choice. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I was definitely thinking about that, especially with like this one, because it's the end of the duology, end of this story. To have it end with him was very different. I guess it's
Yeah.
powerful in that, like, Kaz, I mean, a couple things. Kaz has really shaken him, and really, like, that's what he aimed to do, right? Brick by brick. I feel like there's still like a little bit of a feeling of being like unsatisfied or not quite fulfilled with this revenge plot. But then I think the twist with Inej coming and being like, I'm going to keep this up, don't you like come here anymore, was like, whoa. And so I
Like, you
think,
thought you were safe, but you're not.
yeah, yeah. So I think seeing that like from his perspective was kind of cool. But it's definitely a different take. I mean, we're kind of used to like our romanticises is often like it ends on the guy's perspective, but that's like a whole different story. That's about like his feelings. This is about, you know, what Kaz was after the whole time, finally like crumbling. So I don't know, what do you think?
Well, I think also I'm used to even with other YAs that are not romantasy or just in general away from that topic. Like, you end it with like a clean bow. Like everyone lives happily ever after. They go here and they do this, and you're like, and that's what ends with, because Kaz is right before that, right? I think it's Kaz's chapter. So like that's how you end it. Oh no, it's Inej's. Um, like that's how we
Different.
end with Inej. So it's like all great, and she's running to go to her
Mm-hmm.
parents, and you're like, you expect the
Yeah.
book to end there. So like the fact
Mm-hmm.
that she didn't, I just thought it was really smart. Like it just was different. It was a different feeling to end with
Mm-hmm.
like the villain of the story and to
Mm-hmm.
see their demise come to them. Because I guess you could like end it with Inej and happy ending, and then you're like, okay, but like what if Pekka comes back? Like there's so many open
Right.
questions. But the
Right.
author is intending this so that like no, Kaz is like kind of the main driver of the story. Like, yes, it's all about the crew, and that's why I think it's great that the new covers it's Kaz and Inej because it's really Kaz and Inej's story,
Mm-hmm.
the most I would argue. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
else has really great solid stories throughout, but like it's them. They're the core
Mm-hmm.
of this, and that's why it's always like Kaz Brecker's crew, Kaz and da da da. So to
Mm-hmm.
see that it like you're kind of like as a reader being able to feel like, oh, okay, Kaz got his comeuppance. Like he got what he wanted. Like this is great because I think even like as it was ending in the last couple chapters, I was ready for like the shoe to drop because it kept dropping the entire books, right? And I
Yeah.
didn't feel like, oh, we're done. Like I was like, I'm so used to living in the dark or living in like this
Mhm.
like bad things that which
Mhm.
is what the characters feel as well. Like it's hard for them to adjust
Yeah.
to know that like everything's fine now. So I think that like as a reader, if you just left off with like, okay, everything's done, you're great, you're kind of just like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So this is
Yeah.
like a nice like grounding, I think, in that, and like,
Mhm.
you know, I love the Hunger Games. I love our Hunger Games so much, and the ending of like, the flash forward. But I think if Suzanne had done something like this, it would have been more intriguing. Because even with the
Mhm.
Hunger Games, you're so used to like, oh my God, so much is happening, everything's going bad, and then it's like
It's true.
cut to okay, everything's fine now. You're like, you're
Yeah.
unsettled. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
sure, everything's fine. I
For
believe
sure.
you. I guess like I will settle on that. Um,
Mhm.
where with this, like, it was a great way to like I guess take you off the emotional roller coaster and have you
Mhm.
level out and then really like believe like okay,
Mhm.
because Pekka even as he's talking, he could have easily come back and he was like he will, and
Yeah,
then
he's
there's that
ready.
reminder of like you're actually never safe and you're done, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. I think it was so smart. It was so smart.
Mhm. Yeah. And I liked that, so like Kaz kind of softened himself a little by getting Inej's parents, right? And that moment is very it's like heartwarming. Um,
Do you see the
because you
artwork I posted?
no. No, maybe I did.
Okay, it's beautiful. It's
I'll have
it's
to
her
go
hugging her
back.
parents and she's like crying. It's
Mm,
amazing. But anyway,
I
sorry, keep
love it.
going.
But yeah, so you see him like softening a little, but then you have this Inez moment where she's kind of like taking up what he's like brought down. So it makes them like a pair, right? So she's brought the toughness back, and she said like, so I just really liked that it was their, like they're a team, like no matter what. And you kind of, I really thought like they were gonna part ways. Like I thought, she was gonna get
Mm-hmm.
her ship, she was gonna go on. And then like towards the end, you just kind of realize that it's not gonna be like that. Like they're always gonna have each other. And even if they don't like see each other, because like she's a wraith, she doesn't have to see him, but she's still gonna be there for him. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
this just kind of like tied it together like that too. And I think that works so well. Just exactly what you said, that it's their story, This is how they tie that up.
Yeah, and it shows how they've both grown together. And like it wasn't just like Cass helped Inej out, or like Inej really helped him grow. And I think that this whole journey for Inej has been so many realizations of her even like thinking about what she would want in life and her not having
Mm-hmm.
the ability to think that far. And I
Mm-hmm.
loved that moment of when she comes to the realization that she does want to come back to Ketterdam. She does want to take down not just the slave traders, but the the um the bad people of the casinos and all of these
Right,
like
the
the
bosses
gang
and
leaders, the
hmm
bosses and the merchants who are corrupt, and she wants to make a more fair world. And I love how Cassian points out to her, he's like I'm a crime lord or
right.
whatever. She's like, yeah, but you're not them. So she's
Yeah.
like, there's proof that like, yes, it's more realistic to me because you're not going, we're gonna make the world all peace and butterflies. Like you're like, no, there will be crime and there will
hmm
be bad situations, but she's like, but you, she even says to him, like, you would never sell someone. You would never do
Right.
this. You would never do
Right.
this. And it's like, she's like,
hmm
there's a line, and she wants to, essentially, her goal is to make sure that line is defined again in this universe. And it has
hmm
not been. And so I love that. And I love that she found home within that and
hmm
finding herself. She's like one of my favorite characters in this whole journey of this whole book, and same with
hmm
Kaz. And yeah, so I think I agree with you, like the fact that they will always be connected and always like work together no matter what. It was just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. She really did a good job.
How did you think of since we're on Kaz and Inej, our power couple, our favorite of this book, um, or the series? What did you think of the moment when they tried to kiss?
Actually, like I think it's really well written. Like
Same.
thinking about like fantasy and smut and whatnot, like the tension is just wild.
Yep, yep.
And even though like nothing happens really, like it doesn't work out, you still know that like the intention was there and like the feelings were felt, right? So they know what they are to each other. And it was just, I don't know, you just want
The
to hug them.
yearning, everything was great. And like Inez even points out, like everyone if they saw us, like they would be laughing because they know us as the most like ruthless people here, and then they can't even like touch each other. And I was like, it's so
Mhm.
true. But like I just think that the author did such a great job of weaving in their trauma and making it feel so like real and heartbreaking and relatable, and especially them being so young and knowing that like that's something that might like carry on with you, but showing to the readers that like even if you have something like this traumatic or a traumatic event happen to you and you feel like you can never get past it, like you can. It's just it's gonna
Mhm.
take slow times, and then you're gonna peel it back one by one. You're gonna find yourself again through
Mhm.
that, and this is a great exploration of that and a great way to show that like everything will be okay in the end. Like even in
Mhm.
the midst of them having all of this crazy stuff, if you pull it down, it's just two teenagers that have a lot of trauma that are trying to get past this because they do have this immense like love for each other. And
Mhm.
you just like know as a reader, like whether or not they end up going with it or not, like 20 years from now they're together or not, like that was a pivotal moment for the two of them and helping them remember that they're human essentially,
Mhm.
that they are
Mhm.
not defined by what happened to them only.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it was so beautiful, so
it
beautiful.
was. Yeah. And I love that they have each other and that they have the awareness enough to like let their guard down as much as they can, or like, and that gets like incremental because of each other, you know? Like it's not just anybody, but they're gonna do it for each other.
Yeah.
And I think if we want to pivot a little like that, there's so many like couples that kind of mirror that, but they all have their own issues that they're dealing with and growing with. So like Nina and Mateus have, it's like similar in a way, right? But it's more like a mindset thing. And it's like how they've, and we talked about this before, like how they've changed each other. And this one, I was like sad that like Mateus is not really in this book that much. I felt like he's there, but he's
Mm-hmm.
not as active. But I think in a way that's because he's like they describe him as the strong one, right? Like physically, yeah, but he's
Mm-hmm.
also like been able to come into the crew. And like I think one of my favorite scenes is when he gets them out of the Black Veil when they're being ambushed. It's Jesper and Kue.
Oh,
And
that was cool.
because at the end, I think it's Wylan. It's Wylan or Jesper who's like thinking it. They're like, I think it's Jesper. I lied. Uh, he's like, we wouldn't be alive without him. Like if he hadn't stepped up. And I just like, that makes my heart hurt.
Well, it's also such a beautiful moment because even Mateus realizes after that he's like, I just used what I hate, like was taught to hate all of my life, in a like I used these soldiers essentially like the Grisha,
Yeah.
and I fought with
Mm-hmm.
them, and it's like he's like it was hard for him to wrap his head around, but he did it, and he can keep
Mm-hmm.
doing it, and he can teach others how to do
Mm-hmm.
it, and so he's probably
Mm-hmm.
so hopeful, and it's like I think it's obviously on purpose that we don't get him as much in this book because of the the death that we get, unfortunately. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, he kind of took a back burner, but I think it's because a lot of like Nina's and Matea's story was so much in book one that like in this book two, it's kind of just like they didn't have as much because like they saw their issues in a way, quote unquote. Like they're ready to be together. They just want to go off together. They're gonna do this and that. So like there wasn't much more I think for the author to explore, and that's why we see more time with Kaz and Nej, or more time with Wylan and Jesper, because they all needed to work out their shit even more.
I wrote in our book club, like, did that really need to happen?
That was my question to you right now.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts? Because, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I understand, and you know I've been a proponent about this many times in the podcast. There can't be war and all these crazy things happen and there's no casualties because that's just unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought from one of the artwork I saw was I thought it was Wylan who died because of us not getting his point of view in the first book, and I was like, okay, so
Right.
he's not getting it for a reason. And then when we started getting in the second book, I was like, oh damn, she just wants to tear her heart out, like he's gonna die. And then I saw an artwork of like them surrounded, like laying, like there's someone laying down, but I realized that later that someone laying down was Mateus. But I think because I looked at it so quickly, I was like, oh, it's Wylan. I was like, oh, Wylan dies. So this entire time I thought Wylan was dying. And then I got
Mm-hmm.
spoiled that Mateus dies because there was an artwork of Nina with like a with Mateus, but he was like a ghost. Like she's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like you know, like caressing your ghost that you love. You know, we all do that. But it's like that kind of sucked because like
Right.
I don't know why. Just like I would have believed it more if Wylan died. Like I was fully, it made sense to me and what was happening in terms of like him not fully being involved and then him finding involved and then he had all this story to it. And it's like even though Cass kept saying to him like stop trying to be a martyr, and like that's what he would have
Mm-hmm.
ended up being if he did.
Mm-hmm.
But it also would have been such an inspiration for Jesper going forward. So I was fully ready for that.
True.
I was not expecting it to be Mateus, and the way that he died was kind of like lackluster, honestly. Like I know
Yeah.
that the Fjordans had to come after him, and it was like
Yeah.
he got quote unquote what was coming to him, but like not really. Like I don't know. I thought it was a little weak, and it happened like the way it happened, and then like suddenly it's done, and then we're mourning, and then Nina's like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna gonna bury him and do all this stuff. I'm like, wait, what? I was like, this is too
Right.
quick. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it needed. I think a death needed to happen, but I don't think it needed to be Matthias. I really think it should have been Wyland. What do you
Mm.
think?
Yeah. Well, when I first like wrote that, I was like this because like we went so long. And again, yeah, it did feel kind of weak. And I get like he was seeing himself in this kid. He was trying to like reach out to him, get through to him, and that obviously like sets up a bigger story and sets up, everything that he went through. And so we get to like see that come full circle. But I think that's all it did. I mean, I I think it was like in a way like good for Nina to
It's her
lose
spark,
him.
her like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna rally and I'm gonna keep doing this because of him, but
Yeah. And
was it needed?
I love that like he was like I was put here to like protect you, and then he has to like go, right? And Neж says that because she tries to bring him back, and I was like, "Oh, I hated that she tried to bring him back and his eyes were black." And I was like,
Yeah.
so the last thing you saw of him was not his like ice blue eyes, like that got me. Um But yeah, I expected it to happen so much sooner too. Like just the moment was not like in the height of things. Like there were even times like with that crazy shadow lady who's after Inej, like
Oh,
I was like, "Oh,
Dinasha, I think it is.
yeah." Well, I don't know. I made it up. But you listened, so I believe you.
Yeah, it's like Dinasha
Um
or Dinasha, something like that.
I also thought she was kind of random. We could talk about that if we want.
Okay,
Uh
God, yeah.
but yeah, I don't know if he was necessarily the right one to die.
I just think it would have been so much more powerful, like as they go forward, that like to have this couple of two that they're supposed to hate each other,
Hmm.
like they fell in love, and to like show the power of that to the Fjerdans and to the Rovkins, and to like
Hmm.
as they keep going forward and moving with like the movement and things, like I just think it would have done more to have them together and fighting this fight than
Hmm.
just Nina now going forward by herself without her
Hmm.
Fjerdan. Like I don't know. I get it, but like if you wanted to do it, I think you could have done it. Like if she, especially if you know, Leigh and I were talking about reading King of Scars, um, and we're like, oh yeah, I think we should read it. And then you said in the interview in the back they mentioned that Nina's in that book, so it's
Hmm.
like yeah, especially if you're gonna continue Nina's story, like
Hmm.
then have it happen later on. You know, like something more like Have you ever watched the show The 100?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so in The 100, um, very very quick. So if people get my metaphor in this, the show 100 is really good. You should watch it. It's a CW show, so it's kind of cringe, but it's really good. And it's a book too. And it's essentially like dystopian. The world's not great anymore to live on. People go to space. They decide the world can maybe be good again, so they send 100 juvenile delinquents down to test out first if the essentially they use them as bait to see if it could be livable again, which is like extremely messed up. And it is. And these kids have to then navigate whatever the new world. But then they also realize that there's still people that were left on Earth that it was a nuclear attack, and they survived. And then this is whole like kind of like the new natives versus the people coming in, space people, whatever. They hate each other, they fight, whatever. It's a lot of things. But there's these two characters that fall in love that are from opposing sides, and their relationship is so powerful, like impactful. And it's teenagers, it's a YA thing. Um, and then he, spoiler alert, is put to death. And by her people. I think it's by her people, by his people. I forgot who it was. And the moment of it was just so impactful for the rest of the show that like I don't even think that she takes another romantic character the rest of the show because of how much it impacted it. And I think later on they like say to regret killing that character and things like that. And it's like it's impactful for both sides that are witnessing it. So that's what I'm getting at is like him dying is not impactful to anybody else except for Nina and the Six of Crows crew. But if it was something like that, where it happened later on, where it's in front of these
Hmm.
two combating things, it could be an
Sure.
impactful thing. It could break the sides because he'd be a martyr because it's like you're seeing like the other side could be like, was this really necessary? Like each side would be like questioning it.
Hmm.
Um, Especially
Oh.
seeing the impact it has on her as a character. So yeah, so that's why I was like, oh, I wish that like I really don't think this was needed. And like I truly think Wylan should have died. Like I love Wylan. Great, I'm glad he's alive. But like I could see it happening that he does. And like
So my only
I
thing
don't
with
know.
that is like, how would that twist like his father or like the merchant or the Stadwatch? Like, there are so many twists in this book. I don't know how she came up with this
It's a lot.
because, and also like, I think there's like it's a little unrealistic that Kaz comes up with all these elaborate plans in like 12 hours and like
No,
sure he's
actually it's him just going looking out the window, scheming face. Okay, I got it. And you're like, what?
and it's like things from, okay, we have to change the boat from a fishing boat to a market boat to a death boat.
Riverboat.
Like, yeah. I was like, there's no way. And just like everything with first it's gonna be the Rothkins, and then we're gonna get the money to the shoe, and then Wyland's gonna get beat up for it.
Yeah, you have to definitely suspend your belief a little bit about like Kaz. Like you know he's been here for years and he's built up so much, so he knows how the merchants work. He knows how the money works. He knows how the industry works. He knows how the community works. So you're like, okay, he's trying to think about what would be the most normal to what people see. But yeah,
Hmm.
for it to do, there was times where I was like, it's morning. I don't even know what time of day it is.
No, yeah. And there was a brief period where they were sleeping during the day, so that also changed things. So that was confusing. And I don't know about you, but I had zero faith in the like merchant council that they would actually follow the rules. Like Kaz was like, they'll let the auction happen, like this is sacred to them, da 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 da. And I'm here thinking like they're all scum. They only care about money. Why would they not? Like Van Eck is doing whatever he pleases, Rollins is doing. So I think I needed to like curb my own self and be like, no, no, this is
I think I
okay.
believed it because of the fact that there was the presence of the other embassies. Like if the other countries weren't there, then yeah, I think they would have shit would have went down.
Just
But I think
scammed it,
because they
yeah.
have the pressure of the other embassies being there and they have to be like this is like you're showing this is what they're known for, like these auctions and sticking to the deals and everything. So like if
Mm-hmm.
they if shit went down, then no one will take them seriously going forward. So I think it
Mm-hmm.
was more about and they care so much about perception. I think that was why he was like
True.
they're not going to do it. Like there's no way they're going to mess this up. They're going to stick to their guns in that um I think that there was so many moving parts though that I was a little like when we find out later that like the Council of Tides wasn't actually the Council of
Oh,
Tides. I was like,
right.
wait, I didn't even catch that. And I was like,
Nope.
so that's great because they pulled it off really well. But I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
catch that was the Ravkins. And then the Council of Tides comes later and they're like, why did you do that? And he's just like, I knew this would happen. And you're like, wait, like it's so impressive what Cass thinks of.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a little like you're on the ride with them. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what is happening? And
Yeah.
like it was so much that to the point where I think that when they were like in the hotel with Jesper's dad and they were just eating waffles and there was a new safe house, I like didn't believe that they would be safe. Like I was like,
Oh,
no, they're gonna be found
yeah.
out. I was like, there's no like everything they do is wrong. Like everything's happening so bad, and I think that's great because that means the author set it up that like you truly are always on your feet because things were going so wrong that I didn't believe
Mm-hmm.
that anything would work out for them. And then it does.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think there was a point in the book where I felt like things were a little slow and things kept going wrong. And I was like, all right, like, what's gonna happen? Like, how do we turn this around? Like, I need something to keep me moving. And I don't remember what, like, plot point exactly was the one where, like, oh shit. I do think that the scene where Kaz, like, goes and, like, gets beat up, but also
I was
does a
gonna say
lot of
that scene
beating
too.
was really
That
good. That was amazing. And then the scene where he gets Pekka on his knees, like begging for his son. I just love the implications of the Dime Lions, like seeing like the weakness and like drawing back. And like when Kaz knows how much reputation matters and he like enforces that, like with these situations, I just, that's gold.
It made it feel like this is something that Kaz has really been thinking about for years when she says that. And it's like it's not just acting on revenge and impulse, and that's so like you're gonna want to just do that naturally, just like act on impulse. He has to
Hmm.
also restrain himself back because you're right, the way that he ends up doing it brick by brick is so smart. It's like it's a death worse than death, like what he does to him
Hmm.
in the end.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's just I was just I was so impressed, and with the fighting of Kaz's fight scene where he takes up Per Haskell's
Yeah, yeah.
crew back. I think it was also great that we got it from Inej's point of view. I was really
Oh.
excited that
Hmm.
it wasn't from Kaz's point of view. Like, yes, it would have been
Hmm.
fine, but to
Good
like
point.
have her witnessing it and taking it in was even more impactful for the scene, I
Hmm.
think.
Hmm. And you're just waiting for the moment when Kaz was gonna like look up and lock eyes with her because you knew that he knew that she was there, and then he does. She's like, ah.
What did you think
Um,
about Inej really believing that he buried the child, though? Like,
I mean, I think maybe because I didn't fully believe it, that I was like not bothered by it.
I just was
I know, cause
surprised she still felt that way, but I think it also showed that like they don't talk enough. Like their problems
mm,
themselves, the two of them, because
hmm,
she'll, she says it throughout that like, I think he feels this way, but then like he doesn't. Like she doesn't know. She's like, am I just a piece in his game? Like am I just a
yeah,
pawn to him? They don't
yeah,
talk enough. So like that's an example of her reacting on that. But yeah, I was like,
hmm,
I literally think I wrote in the chat. I was like, girl, why did you believe that? Like you still believe him?
right, yeah, yeah. She definitely has moments, which is I think good. It's frustrating, but it's good because it shows their youth, where she'll just assume things, or she'll just be like, no, like he doesn't think this way, and it's like, if you talk to him, I mean, he doesn't talk that much.
I was gonna say we
Oh,
should probably pivot to Wylan and Jesper,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
one couple we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
Which, so my question is about the end. It's not really a question. It's another like feeling thing. So I like when he got the house, I was like, you can't live in that house. Like you need to sell the house and you need to live somewhere else. And he
Why?
does because I just didn't trust that there like his father wasn't gonna have somebody who was gonna come and like
Oh,
I
kill
don't
him.
know, burn them inside or something like that. I just it was one of those moments where I was like, I don't trust anybody. And I mean, he feels that way too. Like when he goes inside at first, he's like waiting for his father, like to be around the corner or whatever. Like he has his own traumas there, and he says that the music room was the only place that he was happy. But it's good that like by the end, like Jasper is there and Ash is there. They're, you know,
Hmm.
they have each other. They have safety.
And she points
Um,
out like the staff is happy to have them because they
yeah.
were with him his whole life and they saw how he was treated and like they kind of welcomed him home. So I think that
Hmm.
there was still like that feeling of home that he can make it
Hmm.
better.
Yeah. And then when he got to bring his mom, that was great.
Yeah, and everyone's shocked that she's alive. I'm like, yes, Jasper, take Jasper Weiland, and they're like, oh, they go on little boat rides. People see them like boating by. I'm like,
Hmm.
yes, show the whole world
Hmm.
what your father did.
I I know it was a little like sneaky of Kaz to kind of point him in that direction or like know that his mother was still alive. But I think ultimately it's another one of those where like Kaz is kind of like looking out for him, he's gonna like give him his mother back. So I think
Kaz
that
can do
was
both.
needed.
Kaz can
Yeah.
play his game and use you in his game, but he also can care about you and do something that is for the good of you while also
Yeah.
being beneficial to himself. And that's Kaz's MO. He says it like is you can't have any weaknesses of like caring about someone. But of course he's human. He's gonna care about them. He cares about all of
Hmm.
them and whether or not he
Hmm.
will say it or not, but he's not gonna admit that. And so yes, you going over there helps his game, but also like he knows it's gonna help you. and he wants that for you because he cares about you. The same thing with Inej. He does that the
Yeah.
entire relationship.
Yeah. It's
It's
tough
not the
love.
best relationship to be in because you're gonna constantly doubt whether or not this person cares about you and think that you're just a pawn in their game, like Inej does. But you know that he has good intentions.
Yeah. But yeah, Wylan and Jesper were another good couple. Like they like challenged each other, supported each other. I really liked when Wylan like asked Jesper, he was like, "Do you think you're like just a good shot, or do you think you're using your powers? And it's okay if you are, you know?" And
Wait, I
then
didn't
when
catch
they,
that.
wait, really?
So Jesper's using his powers, and that's why he's so good at shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Maybe I just again. I told you the Jesper chapters were really hard for me.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I did not catch that.
Which like when Wylan first suggests it, like obviously Jesper like dismisses it. It's like whatever. And it's a little bit of like a could be, maybe not. But then he does do it when he has to shoot Kue and he
Oh,
bends the
that's what that
bullet.
whole that
Yeah.
okay. That's what the poem. I had to re-listen to that scene a couple times. Okay,
Oh,
I see
okay.
the
Yeah, yeah.
importance of
I
that scene
mean,
then.
it was a lot. Yeah. Um, but
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
thought
so
it was
cool.
great. I thought it was great for Jesper. I thought it was great that Wyland felt like comfortable enough to like say something that was going to make Jesper uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah,
I I do enjoy them. And I like
yeah.
their
I
little
was definitely
flirtiness.
annoyed with Jesper book one. And like I loved him, but I was like, "You're not my favorite."
Oh,
And like as it's gone on, I'm like, I think I even commented. I was like, "Bro, just talk to your dad, like please." You're like, and I think
oh,
that's the, you know, they all don't have their parents except for him. Like I'm like, just talk to your dad, please. I'm like,
yeah.
that's the adult in me. Like, please, just talk to your dad. But I do enjoy his growth in learning that like he needs to stop like blaming other things for his problems and like he
Mm-hmm.
is at the core of it too and like what is he not
Mm-hmm.
facing and like
Mm-hmm.
all of this he has his own baggage in that and that he can't get
Yeah.
past that and you know I think it's really interesting that this author took on a gambling addiction for this character and for the story.
Mm-hmm.
um Definitely I feel like something not as prevalent in YA stories. Usually it's just like a drug addiction, so like that was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
um and you really saw it, like his tics and everything, and him trying to, you know, ground himself throughout it. So I was, I was, I felt like Kaz, like in the end when Kaz was like, I think that's a good move to make, and like was happy
Oh,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
moves, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what Kaz was trying to do. Like, did Kaz be a little bit of an asshole to him and hold this over his head for too long? Yeah, he did a little bit. I think if Inej went on, everybody moved on. Like, you don't have to treat Jesper like shit for his mistakes so for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great, like in the end when he like knows what he wants to do. Like he's gonna help out Wylan. He's not gonna just go. He if he went back to the farm, that would make no sense. Like he
Yeah.
needs to be his own person and
Mm-hmm.
also accept his powers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He like low-key has the most growth. Like he needs the
Oh
most growing.
yes,
I don't think he doesn't get there totally, but he's on the right path and
and you don't
he's got
expect that because
help.
he was comedic relief in the first book.
Right,
But
right.
the funniest people have
Yeah.
what the like the most trauma.
Mm, that's true. Yeah, I do like his story. And I think like it's like a good side character. Like I don't know if it's strong enough for his own thing,
Yeah.
but I did enjoy it. I loved his dad. I loved how his dad kind of like took them all in as like his own children. And like I think when they finally get back together and he just like slumps at one point and you're just like, oh, you like feel for this man. He's so wise. And then he has to like put on the front about being the merchant.
Oh my God, so funny. Because like he like scolds them all and like he's the dad,
Hmm.
but then it like switches back where they're like, okay, we are experienced and you're not, so we're gonna help you. So
Right.
it's just really I can all see them like I can all see them like in the future, like they have a holiday and they all go
Checking
up to
in.
visit Jesper's
Hmm.
dad and they just like have like
Hmm.
a dinner with Jesper's like that's adorable. It really
Yeah.
is. How did you feel with the king of Ravka being there?
Oh.
And there's the throw in. First off, Kaz figuring it out. Of course, of all the characters, Kaz would figure it out.
Hmm.
Love that. And then Nina being like, this guy's familiar. Like,
Familiar.
he's giving off like I know him. Like, how'd you feel about that?
I thought it was cool. I liked it. He felt like just kind of like a swarmy, like Kaz if he lived a different life, like if he got to be royalty.
Mm.
And I loved that Kaz figured it out. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little bit to understand why Nina would know him, or like why would she feel familiar. I was like, were they like warriors together? Did
Were
they
they
have a
roommates?
relationship? I was like,
Like,
oh no, like
it's her
he's
king,
her king.
Leigh.
Duh. Yeah, it was a late night. No, but that was just my moment. No, I thought it was fun.
That was a nice sprinkle to add to the story.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of royalty, do you think Dinasha, the Wraith Shadow, was actually
Oh,
royalty?
I don't.
You think she's just
I think she
crazy?
was. I think she was crazy. I want to think she was just crazy. She
Yeah.
reminds me of. You haven't watched it, but like, the Lord of the Rings of Power. There's like these weird witchy women like that, and then in the Dungeons and Dragons movie, did you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
The bald lady, like
Oh, the
they
main
all like
villain. Yeah.
they give like similar vibes, and they're just a little cuckoo.
No, I was like, it just felt like a character that might have been told they were something their entire lives and they believed it, but like in reality, that's not what's true.
Yeah, yeah. I I don't think I liked the addition of her though.
Hmm. How so?
I I felt like she was a little random. Like I liked how Inej considered her shadow, and that she had this like counterpart that she had to like overcome. But it just kind of like felt like it came out of nowhere, and we haven't seen anyone with characteristics similar enough to Inej before. So it just felt like she was just like plucked and plopped. And I was like, where did she come from?
I could see that. It felt like when you're watching a superhero villain and they have this like random side villain that comes in and like they do like a spotlight on them and then you're like dun 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 cut to commercial and you're like, "Oh, what?" Like it definitely
Who?
does feel like that. I think it just the author was just trying to give a challenge to Nej other than just the same first challenge because if they didn't, then it would just be like her trying to cross the wire for the sugar thing. But that's what she did last book was her trying to climb up the chimney. So it's like you don't want to like
Mhm.
just copy and repeat of her just having these like
Mhm.
external challenges.
Right.
So, and then you got to show off Nina's powers with the dead, and that was just crazy. So I kind
That's
of love that.
true. Yeah, that's very true. And also you got to show off Inej's like knowledge of the city when she knew which steeple she was on, even though she was blinded. That's
And
pretty
her weaknesses
badass.
of her knowing that she's not a great fighter.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. But yeah, I think I just wished it was, I don't know, introduced a little differently.
Like a
But
like a like a plotting like kind of seeding it throughout the plot so you
yeah,
don't feel like
yeah.
it's weird. Okay. So to wrap up this book, what was your rating of Crooked Kingdom?
So I believe I rated this 4.75.
Wow, twinsies.
Nice.
What was the
I,
reason that we both didn't do five? Go ahead.
okay, I think mine is a pacing thing and just feeling the like, okay, when is this gonna get? Because the first one we have such a high and prominent goal, right? Break into the ice court, get out of the ice court. And this one is a little like a lot more fluid. So I think it was that for me. How about you?
I agree. I think that I loved being able to show that these characters are not always going to win, they're going to fail. I think it grounded a lot of the story, but it needed to be intertwined with more wins throughout. Like it felt like it was like win first book, fail, win. We're good. Everyone's
Hmm.
safe. Everyone's happy.
Hmm.
Mateus died. Whereas like it could have just been like a mixed more, I think.
Yeah.
Um So that was
Yeah.
my only critique, was like the middle you felt it a little bit. But otherwise, like, the characters were so well done. I'm so hard,
So
like, it's gonna
good.
be so hard to leave them. The plot
Hmm.
was, even though the pacing was, we didn't love, I still loved the idea of the plot and where it went from here.
Agreed.
And the journey of
Agreed.
these characters, you felt their growth in what, a few weeks, hours. Like, it was believable. You
Hmm.
never felt like you weren't in this with them, and
Hmm.
that was great. It was just great writing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to keep reading this author, not even just with Grishaverse, but like past and all their other books. I think I will really enjoy their writing.
Yeah. She's definitely has a craft, which is awesome. But on to Shadow and Bone.
On to Shadow and Bone. It's our book club at Shadow and Bone. So make sure to join our book club so you can listen and read along with us and see all of the fan art we add and the discussions we have. And if you read Shadow and Bone, you want to reread it, come back and reread it with us.
Do
And then we'll
it.
go on to King of Scars, which is 2 books, right, Lee? King of
Yes, it's
Scars.
another duology. Yes.
So we'll do those.
Which
And then
also props to her. I love a duology.
I know, the fact that she can do all these duologies is amazing. And then after that, I think the book club will end the Grishaverse, because the other books that she has in this universe are kind of like more like for fun. Like she has like one that's like talks about the fairy tales, and one talks about like the deities. So like that might be something like maybe we'll talk about on here, but not necessarily read in the book club. And then same with
Hmm.
the graphic novel that came out. I don't know if we'll necessarily review it in the book club, but we'll probably do it for fun. And then we'll have another series after that. But that's a little further away because, like I said in the beginning of the episode, we do 1 book per month with the podcast, with the book club. So, and then we review it here on the podcast. So, yeah, that's about 5 more months before we even get to um, the next big
Let's.
series that we'll do. But it's so great because when we're done, it's like half of the year was just fully in the Grishaverse, and that's
It's so
so
true.
cool. We haven't done that
That's so wild.
ever. So like I
No.
love it. I love it. I love it. I think this is
No, that's
amazing. We
very
picked a
cool.
great series. Shout out to the book club for voting on this.
Hmm.
So more to come. I will say while we're doing this on the podcast, we will have like 1 or 2 books that aren't with our book club that we're going to review on here. I'm specifically talking about because we've talked about Shield of Sparrows on here, and the second
Oh,
book is
sure.
coming out very soon. So we are planning to review it
Few
here on the
weeks.
podcast, even if our book club is not going to read it. And same with, we are going to pick up from a while ago. We were doing the Dream Harbor series. Dream Harbor is coming back with this newest edition with the Daisy Chain Flower Shop. So we're gonna
Yeah.
review Gingerbread on here and Daisy one. So you'll see majority of our stuff is the Grishaverse, but we do have some fun little other books throughout that we want to make sure that we're still keeping up for our audience, or our audiences, you guys listening, and just for us personally. Like we're not gonna leave the series unturned. So
Hmm.
really exciting spring and summertime reads for us. More to come on that. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Fairy Tales Podcast, and on YouTube
Hmm.
as well.
YouTube.
Let us
Hmm.
know what you think of this series, what you want to hear more about. Oh, and we'll probably do a watch party in the end too, because we have to watch
Yeah.
the TV show. Duh.
Yeah.
So that'll be
So join us.
really exciting. So join us.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay
Um,
tuned.
yeah. Anything else? Am I missing anything else?
Nope. I think you got it all.
What is the
Right.
line from the book? Not no mourners,
No.
no funerals. What was the other one? This action will have no echo.
Oh, no echo. My favorite. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Crooked Kingdom, and we hope that you guys are having a great day and happy reading.
Happy reading.